Guys, welcome back to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and I'm joined for a rundown of our favorites or the best physical media releases of 2024 by Adam J. Yeend. Adam, welcome back to Serial at Midnight.
G'day, hey everyone.
Oh, I like that. Good day. You're knee deep in physical media, the production side of things too. You're a film journalist. You are a title. What does a title manager entail?
Yeah, title manager is like the middleman. I'm working with the label or distributor or studio, and then on the authoring side, working with the encoding, the subtitling, the menu, the bonus features, um, QC, and all that sort of stuff. Pretty much, I'm the center point to kind of bring everything together and get the disc made. So yeah, I've worked doing this for quite a long time, 20th Century Fox and with Disney, and I worked on Warner Brothers titles, Criterion titles, and several others for other labels too. So yeah,
And you've been here
busy
before,
time.
and we got the full story from you there. And I'll link to that so people can check the full conversation about what you do and how you do it, and just your
Yeah,
fandom as well, which was great. But I think one of the things that I want to hit right here at the top is that people continue to proclaim that physical media is dead. I think because that gets clicks, or because they go into Best Buy and it's not there anymore. And this week, I should mention this. I'm dating this video, but LG just announced that they're not going to make two of they're getting out of the player business. And I've had a lot of people say, see, it's all dying. I don't think it
yeah.
is, and I don't think we've ever seen the volume of discs that we saw this year.
Yeah, it's definitely been the busiest year ever for me. And yeah, though I think the thing is happening is just it's like just more and more like vinyl. And even CD players, which you can still buy a Philips CD player on online, a really good one. It's just becoming more niche, and it is still like it's bigger in terms of like the for the collectors market, and you can look at the stuff that Arrow's putting out, or we just talked before we hit record, Imprint's Never Ending Story. Like if you're a collector and you're interested and you love a certain film, it's a really, really great time. But it's not the mainstream way now people consume movies. And so yeah, it's not in all the stores anymore, but it's obviously available online, and I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere. There will always be, even if Sony and Panasonic stop making players, there will still be some other company that will pop up and make players. Sony will, like Sony's got an investment in it. That's why it's on the PlayStation, because they have their hands in this technology in developing it. So yeah. I see that, and it's like disappointing when LG like we're not making players anymore, but also it doesn't worry me because the market is still booming from a collector's perspective.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me either because I'm like, well, they're going to make a lot more money off of television or something than I
Sure.
mean, how many people are
Yeah.
buying Blu-ray players right now? Not many.
Yeah.
But someone will. Someone, I always
Yeah.
say I can go into Amazon right now and buy a brand new 8-track player. I can get a 3.5 disc floppy disk drive new on Amazon. People are still
Yeah.
making these things, and that's dead technology. And these Blu-rays are
Yeah.
not dead technology. They're bigger than
Yeah.
they've been bigger than they've ever been, really.
Yeah, and
The
there's like
never-ending.
CD companies like Entrada or El La La Land Records that are still releasing movie soundtracks on CDs, with a complete expanded score and that, and they sell out. So there is ways that it's being to monetize it. It's as long as the collector's market is there, it's not going anywhere. And I think this year I've definitely seen an increase in like these big collector sets, more so than ever, which I think is what they've realized is how to sell the units. So
Yeah, it's a collector's market now, as you
yeah.
said. The Neverending Story is not on my list, but it would be if I had it. I don't have it yet. It's on its way to
Yeah.
me. That has the
Yeah.
full documentary Life After the Neverending Story by a friend of Serial at Midnight, Lisa Downs. She's been here like, I don't know, like a dozen times or something like that. So I'm going to kick us off here
Let's do
with
it.
a couple of
Top
Arrow.
five.
I'm cheating right here at the top. I'm cheating because I'm counting both of these as one because in my mind they kind of
Yeah.
are one. This is Conan, Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer on 4K from Arrow. And I loved these movies as a kid growing up in the 80s. Like Schwarzenegger as the Barbarian was just magnificent. And these have finally been. They've always had okay physical media releases, but these are like the be all end all.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian has three different cuts. It's got the theatrical, it's got the extended and an international cut. It's got the commentary. It's got an isolated score
Wow.
because the score for I had a psychology class in high school, and the professor, the teacher, would play the Conan soundtrack while we were taking tests. So weird, but that's a thing that happened. Um,
Love it.
it's got a whole second disc of extras with new documentaries, archival documentaries. They talk about the pulp and the comic book origins with the writer of
Hmm.
the comic book. It's crazy.
That's cool.
And then Conan the Destroyer has four audio commentaries. It's got also the isolated score. They've all got posters and art cards and booklets, and I just love the serious attention that
Yeah.
that Arrow has given these because they could have just put them out and been like, hey, here's a poster, here's the
Yeah.
art cards, but they didn't just do that. It's loads of new materials. And so for me, having these in this form aren't they beautiful? Just like the
They are.
blade.
They're also, I mean, I'm just looking at them. Like the Arrow does really, really cool stuff. Nothing, it's not, they're chunky. They look great.
Yes.
So yeah, love Arrow. All right. Mine is not as stacked, but I had to give this some love. Kindergarten Cop from Kino came out early this year. Now, this is like a film that, I think it's a flawless genre bender. It has no business being as good as it is as a screwball comedy, as a LA cop thriller, as a rom-com. And the film on Home End historically has always looked kind of flat. And it's actually like for a movie like this, it's beautifully shot. The earlier scenes in LA, the grimy stuff looks great. The scenes in Astoria, they now pop beautifully. And Kino did a beautiful job with this. It just looks amazing. I love the film. And if you're like me, I still like commentaries and I like, people like you, Heath, hearing film historians and that talk about stuff. And it's great some of it's validating. It's like, yeah, I thought that too when I saw it. This movie is just a classic, and I'm loving that Kino is doing movies like this, and they've got Uncle Buck coming up too. And yeah, so shout out to Kino. I thought this was solid. I'm very, very happy to own it. So,
Do all of our picks have Arnold Schwarzenegger as the lead?
yeah, I know.
No, they don't.
No, no, look at my.
It's like, wait a minute. Wouldn't that be crazy if it was just 10 Schwarzenegger movies? Um, okay, so I'm gonna go with another. This is an Australian release, but it plays everywhere. This, you guys, this is the Super Mario Brothers. I don't even remember what they call this, what edition. There it is.
I
Yeah.
got mine out too because I knew you were going to have this. It's so good.
And
For
it's
goodness
listen, it's
sake.
not that the movie is such a home run or anything. Like people are gonna be like, why would you pick Super Mario Brothers? This represents one of the most journalistic releases I have ever
Comprehensive.
seen in the history of physical media. I cannot even
Yeah.
think of anything that would compare to this in the sense of like they're telling the entire story of this movie. They tell from the first script. There's almost 700 pages of printed materials here.
Hmm.
There's like a
Yeah.
480 page book and then another 200 page book. And they're telling you, okay, here's how it was conceived. Here's the production art. Here's how it was storyboarded. And then this is what you ended up with. And here's the theatrical cut. But you know what? The theatrical cut doesn't capture all of the vision that this was planned for. So here's a
Sure.
work print version too. I
Yeah.
mean, and then all the global marketing materials. They've got, ads from all over the world here about how they
Yep.
promoted the movie. It's got this is another one that I think has, let me see, four audio commentaries, deleted scenes, and then all the physical goodies that collectors love, like the posters and the art cards and all that stuff. But
Yep.
again, it's not that the movie is, I saw this when it was new in theaters. I saw this in the theater and I was like, because you're a kid, you love Super Mario Brothers, and I
I
went to
had
go
the
see this.
soundtrack. It was one of my first CDs I ever bought. Like had Rock Set on it and the Divinyls. And I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not what we wanted. I'm going to say that. Like, it was not the Super Mario Brothers movie that any kid wanted at the time. We're like,
Yeah.
there's none of the stuff from the game. But again, seeing what it could have been, and that's kind of the whole point of this
Yeah.
treatment. Because I've seen some people be like, why would they do that for the Super Mario Brothers movie? Because they're telling you what it was planned to be, what it could have been, and then what it actually was. I've never seen. I mean, this is the kind of journalism that you see for something like a Stanley Kubrick movie or a
Sure, sure,
Coppola
but in a
movie.
lot of ways, and it's not of course, I'm not going to like say Kubrick's not interesting, but like something like this, is interesting because it was a debacle essentially. And I think now as time has gone on, there's like a lot more to appreciate about. We've lost like Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper. It's got Alan Silvestri's score, and even like you see on the documentary, like the team who did the visual effects for Jurassic Park visited the set to see how they were developing the Yoshi puppet. And watching it now, and I was like, it's actually a really good puppet. That Yoshi dinosaur, like there's elements to it. Like yeah, there's some as a whole, it's not a good Mario film or that's a good film, but there's a lot to like about it, and I find that it's still an entertaining watch. And as you said, it's so comprehensive, and just if you want to deep dive into how a film can get taken off course um, by a studio and other elements and that sort of thing, it's awesome. So
Well, I
good
should
pick.
mention too that Umbrella did the same. They gave the same treatment to Caligula this year, and that's not on my list. But they put out a similar release, and it's got, I think it's 5 cuts of Caligula in one box set. Again, with the script
Wow.
and all the notes and stuff. I'm like, well, I don't love Caligula. I don't think I even like Caligula, but I'm like, you can't argue with the presentation that they're, it's
Yeah.
journalism. It really is film journalism.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. My next one is Risky Business from the Criterion Collection. Um, I hadn't seen this film. I know it's appalling. I hadn't seen it. But now having delved into all the extras that Criterion did, what I love about this, it's got the original alternate ending and you can select which ending you want. And knowing a bit more about America, having lived here for 15 years and Reaganomics of the 80s, I think that it's a really, um, it's a great film in terms of how it comments on that. The new alternate ending, which the director actually wanted, I think is way more fitting than the theatrical ending. It's got solid extras. The 4K transfer is beautiful, and it's just one of those releases from Criterion. I thought, oh, that's cool, and yeah, I love it. I've watched it twice since I got it. So
I would really love to hear you elaborate because you are a journalist. I would love to hear you elaborate on the themes of that movie and how you see them as someone who did not grow up in America.
that's a whole other video.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. The two endings are night and day, and you can just see from when the era the movie was made, when they're so pro this way of thinking, why they reshot the ending and did this particular ending so it was more digestible, and it didn't, but the ending, the alternate ending the director wanted it is really literally like kind of like a slap in the face to that way of thinking and that way of life. And I think if you want to have repeat business and recommendations, you don't want people coming out of the movie just saying, "Oh, it put me into question about my life choices or how I'm living my life, or about society." So,
Yeah.
but it's fitting now, and I think it's a great release.
That's great. All right. I'm going to go with my next one is Alfred Hitchcock, the iconic
Oh my
film
God.
collection. This
Look
is
at
a,
that thing. Oh my God.
have you
I mean,
not
I've
seen
seen that
this?
online. I had no idea it was like that. I thought it was like,
No, it's
okay.
huge. And it's actually, it's a storage problem. It is because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit
It's
on the media
just,
shelf. Yeah, it's like I don't know, it's like 18 inches tall or something like that. Like it's a very tall release. And it mimics the Universal Monsters. I don't remember the exact title of it, but they did this. Universal put this out, like the Universal Monsters version of this about a year ago. And it's like you have to put it on a bookshelf or something because
yeah, yeah.
it is a book. I mean, that is essentially what it is a book. But the reason this is on my list is one, I love this art, but I'm not going to
It's
put something
beautiful.
here just because of the art. I would really, it's the content that's king. But the presentation of this, like whoa, it includes
Oh, wow.
all these different the artwork, like the promotional. I'll try to give you a good example of it. Okay, here we go. Like all the marketing materials
Yeah.
for the
This is
movie.
by Universal, right? They actually,
Well,
this
it's
is,
Universal. This is why this is on my list because it is a Universal. I think Universal's the actual. Uh, it's Universal working with Paramount, working with Warner
okay.
Brothers. I don't think we've ever seen all three of those studios working together on one thing
No,
before.
that's cool.
I
Yeah.
know
Okay.
Universal and Warner Brothers have their, SDS Studio Distribution Services, but when you like, let's add Paramount to that, and they've all come together to put this like 6 of the most famous Hitchcock
That
movies
looks
in one box
incredible.
set on, if you can call this a box set. Rear Window to Catch a Thief, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, and The Birds.
They're
So
all in 4K?
they're all in 4K. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Here's how they. Here's how they.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a
Ah,
beautiful release, and I
I
just
had no
loved it
idea. It
because
is.
of what
I'm kind of in love with it.
it. This is because of what it represents to like anybody that's like, physical media, man, like it ain't what it used to be. I'm like, you never would have gotten these movies in the same box, in the same
No.
package until now. Like that's one of the magical things that's happening right now is seeing competing studios working together to elevate Hitchcock. I mean, of
Hmm.
course it's a business, but it's not like they're doing it just because they're movie fans, but it's incredible. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Love it. All right. My next one is Chinatown, the
Yes.
Paramount Presents release. I thought this was a stunning looking transfer of an older film. I mean, I don't even have any other words for that. And I am a big fan of this Paramount Presents line. I think they're the only studio that's doing something like this, and I think it's, from a business perspective, it's incredibly smart. I like the fact that it all looks really uniform on my shelf, and they just, I think that the gatefold, with the original theatrical art in it, this was a release that I thought was very, very cool. It's got all the extra, like the documentary on it is fascinating. Living in LA, I had no idea about the water and all the stuff as new Chinatown, but the documentary on it was actually equally as entertaining. But yeah, great performances, an iconic film, and it's also got the two Jakes with it. So yeah, really solid Paramount release for me. I'm a big fan of their Presents line.
Yeah, The Two Jakes is so underseen and underrated, and I love that they included it because now
Yeah,
people have no choice. You don't have to go buy a second package of it. It's
yeah,
there.
I
You
think
just
yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, it's like, and for like the cost of this release is a really good deal. Having that second movie in there, and yeah, it's like to me that's a in this from a studio release, they might not do something like the Mario Brothers set, but I think it's a really definitive Chinatown release.
The last this is it's not my it's my second to last, and I think this is my favorite of the year. But the last one I'm going to talk about is the best. I think this is my favorite of the year. This is the Tales of Adventure Collection 4
Oh my God,
from Imprints. This is
Aussies! Yeah,
yep.
more
Uh,
Aussies.
this is 7 Republic serials. Six of the seven are in HD. Several of them are making a Blu-ray debut worldwide. And I'm actually on this release. I did a commentary for the first 2 chapters of King of the Rocket Men. But before I was on it, this was announced before I was involved with it. And as soon as they announced it, I was like, well, that's the release of the year. Because of how much I love movie serials, because of how much I love Republic, the history of that pulp sort of Saturday morning. I don't even know how to describe it. It's such a unique thing. Cliffhangers,
Hmm.
and these have been given so much love. They have commentaries. Republic would later condense these serials down into feature film versions. So you take like
Wow.
4 hours of footage and craft like a 90-minute movie out of it. Those are here too, and some video essays. I mean, it's an absolute,
I was gonna say, open it up. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
It's an absolute love
Nice.
letter to
Yeah.
serials, and I have never seen anything so ambitious before.
Yeah.
In this for se serials are not something that people talk about. It's a kind of a small audience. It's a niche audience. And when Imprint announced this, I was like, well, how could this not be the top of my list? But then something came out after this that I was like, okay, that actually gets the top honors. But I love this, and I'm so grateful that I did get to be a part of this. So if anybody can still
It's
get their
really
hands on it,
cool.
I'm on to. I did a commentary for two chapters.
Right, my next one is my only new release film for the year. I was going to do Wild Robot, but I just this kind of just edged it out. This is All of Us Strangers, that was a Disney Searchlight film that Criterion picked up, and the reason I pick it up is because it was actually shot on 30 Kodak 35 mm film, and I remember seeing it on the big screen early this year, and I could tell from the opening shot with the sunrise in Andrew Scott's apartment. I was like, this looks like film, and Criterion did a beautiful job with the encode here. It's got Dolby Vision, and it's such a beautiful film. It's understated. It's about grief and loss. And now that I'm in my 40s, I know grief. And, it's Paul Mescal is incredible in it. The soundtrack's good, and yeah, this is just in terms of new release films for the year, this was top tier for me. And anyone that's interested in like the visual aesthetic of film. Seeing a movie today shot on film, kind of like an Oppenheimer was shot on film, and that this is just one that it's the cinematography and the lighting in it is exquisite. So pick it up, all of us
There,
strangers.
there's nothing like shooting on film. The Bike Riders was shot on film this year too.
Yes.
There have been a
Yeah.
few, and when you see them, you just something resonates with you that you can't even put into words. You're like, well, I do. It's and of course we grew up with film, right? We grew up with that being our primary viewing method is projected film. But when I see film now, I'm like, oh, like it makes me, you sit up a little straighter, and
Yeah.
it's organic. That's what it is.
Yes, and actually on the behind the scenes, they say that that everyone kind of everyone in all the departments, whether it's makeup and hair, whether it's costumes, set decoration, they said everyone had a more of a, as you said, more propped up or more just had this real attention to detail. Because again, like it's Searchlight, it's not like a big budget film. They're going to spend the extra money on the film. They can't be doing tons and tons of takes. And I think that again, that really reflects in the final product. And I don't have a science on this, but I when I look at some streaming movies and things like that, because it's so much easier to shoot on digital, I think that there's a less attention to detail when it comes to specifics of hair and makeup, costumes, and set design and things like that. And that this film just is so on point. So yeah, when you don't have money to burn and you've got film stock, I think it just elevates everything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this is my last pick. This is what I think is the best movie. It's the not one. It's not one movie. It's the whole Frank Capra Columbia
Oh,
box
Sony,
set.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, this now I
Look at
have
that
notes
thing.
about this because I don't like it's beveled on the like it doesn't sit upright. It sits at an angle. It's very
Why?
hard to shelf. It actually does fit on my shelf.
You have to do it front facing, right?
Yeah, you'd store it like this,
Yeah.
and it's going to sit kind of like at an angle, like facing up like this. But in terms of what this entails and what this collects, this is 20 films, 19 Capra films, and then the 20th, I believe, is a documentary about Frank Capra.
Wow.
And I just don't think I was really trying to rack my brain. I'm like, have we seen anything like this before? Where a studio, this was from Sony celebrating 100 years of Columbia, where a studio says, here's everything we have from this director in one package. I mean, it goes back to his silent films.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of the like Universal put out a bunch of Hitchcock stuff, but and I don't know if those are I don't know if you can see those or not.
Yeah.
Those were I think 5 movies per 4K box set, and some of these are not all 4K. It has some of them on Blu-ray and on 4K, but in terms of just uh, curating and preserving a huge chunk of a director's filmography, this is unprecedented and it's beautiful and it's got new archival extras, new extras. Um, it is exhaustive. I should also show when I did my unboxing video for this, I didn't realize that these flaps slide back.
Oh my God.
So
Wow. That's like
yeah,
this is some engineering with this box. I mean,
yeah,
like it's just like,
yeah.
wow, okay.
And like today, as I'm making this video, I checked on this again on Amazon. Now Amazon's not great, but I'm just saying they're the the big elephant in the room. This is $140, and I feel like that's very fair for 20 movies and this brand new documentary.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. So this has to be my it's the best. This is the best.
Yeah.
What compares to this?
Nice work, Sony. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Nice
real.
work.
Nice
That's
work,
really,
Sony.
really nice. Yeah.
What you got?
Cool.
Were you
All
gonna?
right, mine is I'm not doing the boxes. I don't have a lot of boxes. Mine's just a single movie. And it is Twister. I know from when I worked at Fox, Jan de Bont, who directed Speed and Twister, who was originally a DP, he put so much like care into that Speed 4K restoration, and he's someone now that I've looked at all the transfers he's worked on, and he really gets the format. I think this film just like blew me away. No pun intended. This this film in 4K, the new Atmos track, but just the visuals of it, and again, following on what I said with like just shooting on film and that, it's like compared to the new one, you can really see like how much more detail, the practical effects, the debris is real. There's very little actual like there's real wind. It's all it just I forgot how well crafted this movie is, and he did a beautiful job with this transfer. I know he altered the sky in one shot. I'm not into, but he said he always wanted it to be green, so he changed the sky in one of the shots. But I think that looking at De Bond's other transfers, he did Joel Schumacher's Flatliners for Arrow. He did The Haunting. He's on Speed, and I think he did Basic Instinct. I think being a DP, kind of like Barry Sonnenfeld with his Addams Family films, he really gets this format, and he doesn't make it look different. He just makes it look the best it's ever looked. And I had so much fun revisiting this. I hadn't seen it for a long time, so great release, and also the new audio track. If you have an Atmos sound system, it's demo worthy. So yay, Twister.
Very good. Very good. We did
Yeah.
it. I could, this could have been like a top 25 because there's so many highlights
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. My
Um,
number one was actually I got an early copy, but my number one is actually released next year, so I couldn't do it. But yeah, there was I've got it. That's Vinegar Syndrome Sliver.
oh, you've got
It
the heart. You've
is
already got the physical copy of it.
I do. Yep. I had a little bit of, I didn't work on it, but I had some, I was a little bit of a, I don't know how do you want to say it? I helped get
You
it
were a
to
champion of the
4K.
film and you helped to usher it
Yes,
to,
thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, and it's got essays in it, but it's just the corrected aspect ratio. It's uncensored. Great interviews with the filmmakers. The essays are awesome, and it kind of like the Mario Brothers situation as well, where it's like really cool soundtrack, but the film was a debacle. But it's also a beautifully shot film. I can't remember the DP's name. He's an Oscar winner. But it's worth picking up, and that would have been my number one until I just realized yesterday it hasn't actually come out yet. So
Well, you
get
got an
Sliver.
honorable mention out of it. And that's a good,
Yes.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. And I don't even know if I've seen the uncut version. Like I think I might have seen it on television. So I will
Yeah.
definitely have to catch up with that. We don't get a lot of sexy movies anymore.
No, we don't. It actually holds up better now in our voyeur obsessed culture than it did when it came out in terms of the themes. And it's a little clunky in parts, but it's just so entertaining. The soundtrack's great. It looks fantastic, and you can also see the infamous alternate ending with the volcano on YouTube. It's not on the disc, but I think the footage on the videotape they put on YouTube, it just wasn't. You couldn't put that on disc, but almost killed this camera crew. It's crazy. I thought that it was this urban legend that didn't really happen, but then they actually did have this bizarre alternate ending to the movie. So, and Joe Esterhaus, who wrote Showgirls and Basic Instinct, he talks about it. It's worth picking up. It's a great release.
Very good. This has been a lot of fun, and it just shows how lucky we are right now. It's the best of times
Yeah.
and it's the worst of times, right? Because we have all of these, we have more than we can get to. That's always the thing. It's like it's so
Certainly, yeah.
good, but there's so
Yeah.
much of it.
And
Um,
Heath, also, I just want to thank you as well for all that you do. I see you on social media. I watch your videos, I listen to your podcast, and I think that you're one of the good ones doing really, really solid work and kind of covering it from a wide range of aspects. And so thank you for being a fan of movies and physical media. Like we need more people like you. Thank you.
I'm gonna cut all of that out. No, I'm just kidding. That's really kind. I appreciate that. Thank you. Where can people read? You've written so much about film, and you're still active in your fandom. Where can people catch up with everything
Yeah,
you've done?
yeah, I did. I wrote for the Academy for a couple of years for their digital publication A-Frame, which the publication is discontinued, but the site is still active on the Academy website. I've interviewed a couple of 4K releases. I've interviewed film restoration artists, people worked on Casablanca and The Prince of Egypt and Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But yeah, I'm on social. On Twitter X, you'll most likely get me talking about physical on there. I'm on Instagram, both under AJ Yeend, it's my initial, and I'm on Letterboxd now too. So I just did a Letterboxd list of demo-worthy 4K releases and people are liking it. So yeah,
That's great. Letterbox is great, but it also has the problem of the snark. It has the snark problem because so many people are just like, it's like what Twitter did. Like, how can I make the quickest, quippiest, snarkiest review?
yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's funny to read some reviews, but I mean, I'm just in this for the love of it, and at the end of the day, I think everyone's even when you have a movie like Mario Brothers or Sliver, I think people are still trying to do the best they can, So, and I think that even comes with these releases, and it's
Yeah.
a lot to keep track of, as you and I just said, we cannot watch every single release in a year. I've got a pile that might have made this list that I haven't been able to get through yet. So, but I'm trying to get back to just the enjoyment of a film and really taking my time with each release. And if there's extras on it, just going through them and not just sticking it on my shelf and then just not thinking about it. I'm trying to be more intentional, I guess. Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people that have been collectors saying that they're tapping out because of the lack of time, space, and money. I think our
Yeah.
task as we move into the new year for all of us is to appreciate what we have and to not get caught so much into that the rat race of keeping up with everything that's coming out and enjoying what we do, what we are able to have, what we already have and what we can afford in each year is just to appreciate what we've got now. And it's easier said than done. But I want to thank you for the time that you spent here. This was so much fun. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thanks, Heath. Thank you. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. Yeah.